Tasmania show, yeah.
Wagwan gang back in this thing, and if you really gang, bang that like button. Show love. It's free. Put something in the comments, you know what I'm saying? Turn on your post notification and show love to Tazzies, baddies. If you like all flavors like I do and you good in every hood, make sure you cop your merch. I got hoodies, I got all of that. Today, we are talking about Nicki Minaj versus Don Lemon, Trump, politics, right? But before I even get into it, in the great words of 50 Cent, you want to stay away from politics because look at what happened to Kanye. Politics and religion are definitely touchy subjects. So as I'm speaking about this, whether the hatred or the love comes or whatever, I'm neutral. I love God. You know what I'm saying? I love all people. So I just want to start off by saying that first because I'm not trying to create any content that's more divisive than the space that we're in right now in these times. But there's an old adage or a quote that they say, what don't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. And I don't know, man. I feel like the certified boogeyman Kendrick, like ever since Not Like Us dropped, I swear, it feels like the rinse. We're in the rinse part of the cycle where everything is really starting to come out and you're starting to really see people that you looked up to and seeing their true colors. And, like when people are fans of people, they'll go crazy for you. Even when people talk about Kanye, when he had his Sunday service, politics, whatever, your fans will jump with you, you know? And I think with Nicki, it's very interesting times. I remember Nicki, Scotty beat me up when it was a time when it was just Nicki, right? And then you hear all these people that have beefs with Nicki, whether it was Lil' Kim, it was Remy Ma, it was Cardi B, and you see all these issues, and it's like, yeah, there was a point when it was just Nicki, you know what I'm saying? And then I've heard people talk about her mental health, no different than Kanye. I'm not gonna lie, on the Monsterverse, I thought something was going on with Nicki. But if we're talking about genius and insanity being borderline, we got to make sure that we give context to the type of people that we're dealing with mentally, because just because they're celebrities don't mean that they don't have mental health issues. And I'm not saying she does or she doesn't, but some of the antics and the things that I've seen, even just looking at, it was a point in time where it was just Young Money, it was Wayne, and it was Drake and Nicki. That's all you ever heard about. And then these days, it's just like everybody's looking at Drake and Nicki, you know what I'm saying, with the side eye. At the end of the day, there's even shout out to J. Cole. I know this is crazy, but the fall off, like all good things eventually come to an end and you can't be on top forever. You know what I'm saying? But this whole situation that I really didn't get, like, okay, why is Nicki and Trump and Don Lemon all in the headlines? So I'm gonna just break down, like I got my notes right here and everything about like what's been going on storyline wise. So I want to say rest in peace to Renee Brown, a lady from the LGBT community that was murdered, you know what I'm saying, out in Minneapolis. And I just wanted to start to stay at first. You know, there's a lot going on over there, so I'm sending love and light and healing energy to everybody out there. Y'all are deeply in my prayers. So what actually took place was Don Lemon was, as an independent journalist, he traveled to Minneapolis and he live streamed a protest that moved into the church services. And then the activists were protesting against ICE and chanting during the service because one pastor was reportedly tied to ICE operations. Lemon interviewed the protesters and the congregants, saying he was documenting the event as a journalist. The U.S. Department of Justice attempted to pursue charges against Lemon, claiming his presence and coverage should be a part of a conspiracy that interfered with religious worship. After federal magistrate judge refused to approve the charges, saying there wasn't enough probable cause at this stage, no charges have been filed against Lemon yet. And so basically, with all that happened with that, right, just wanted to point that part out. Nicki Minaj actually put a tweet out with a Chucky doll that says, Don cock-sucking Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion. Lock him up. Now, I don't know if cocksucking, pause, I don't know nothing about it, right? So I don't know if cocksucking is supposed to offend someone that is in that community. And especially because Nicki Minaj has been known to have a huge LGBT community, like, support. So when she says whether Don sucks, whatever Don does privately, I don't even want this to get clip farmed or nothing like that. Whatever he's sucking or not sucking, Nicki Minaj is pointing it out, right? So it's like, are we trying to diss this man? Because if that's a part of his sexual preference and what he's doing, it almost will make you look like, are you anti-gay now? Because I remember Nicki having such a huge LGBT family, you know what I'm saying, support system. But as we like go through different things, it's like, you know, people always have things to say about other people, but Don Lemon ended up responding to some of the things that Nicki Minaj had mentioned, you know, talking about her husband, Mr. Petty, having a sex offender charge, her brother, like she's got a lot of things going on. So he's like, yo, you over here talking about what I got going on when you're trying to protect sex offenders. And then another thing too that actually came up, I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with this, but I have it right here, that Don Lemon had brought up that I thought was kind of interesting, right? It's like, you know, like being there for your people. So he mentioned that Nicki Minaj is Trinidadian and she came to New York when she was 5. So now he's advocating to get Nicki Minaj deported. And if we're going to go team Nicki supporting Trump, he was like, well, then let's not be hypocritical. Let's deport her. So now there's a 70,000 something petition about deporting Nicki. But Nicki just also announced her support and her collaboration for Donald Trump because she's launching a financial literacy program. Donald Trump has pardoned ASAP Rocky, I think Kodak Black, or NBA Youngboy, which is why he had the Make America Slime Again tour. He's been doing certain things, and there's some people that's just like, yo, and I even saw ASAP Rocky. It was like, yo, he was like, damn, like I really want to get out of jail, but like I got to get Trump to get me out. And it's like, you see what people will do. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, people might be like, yo, do I got to just tap dance? I'm not saying that you do, but once you decide to choose that side, even Boosie was like, he's trying to get pardoned by Trump. Now, you could code switch and switch up once you get whatever it is that you need, but that's what Don Lemon feels like she's befriending Trump now, because it was at one point where she was so anti-Trump and his deportation, but now he feels like, oh, you're siding with Trump because you don't want to get deported and because your husband's a sex offender and all those different things. But something that also came up was on October 16th, there was a Trinidadian that was killed in a military strike on a boat. Now, mind you, Nicki Minaj is from Trinidad. And one of the things that Don Lemon had brought up is like, why you ain't had that same energy for your people? Like, why isn't there any investigation in regards to why they were killed? And allegedly that boat was struck because they said that it had drugs on it. And it's like, you're so tapped into all these other places, but you're not even really riding for your people. And like I said at the top of the episode, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. It's messy because, like Jay-Z said, politics as usual. Like, it's like there's certain things that you want to stay away from and you want to be supportive of. But when you start to just switch and it's like one week I'm this person, that person, my thing is like, people have preferences and things change over time. You may say, hey, I'm eating meat, pause. Now I'm vegan. Now I'm vegetarian. Now I'm like, you know, dairy free, or, you know, now I'm this or I'm that. Like, we have the freedom, I will say, to explore. Like, you know, whether you want to go read the Quran, if you want to read the Bible, like, we are students, you know, that are seeking like ways to connect. And I'm not faulting anybody for the exploration of whatever it is. People change their mind all the time. But when you publicly have a platform and you start getting on there and you start siding with certain people, celebrity have a lot of power. Some people will just only go and do that thing because you're an artist. And I just, you know, pray that moving forward, the people that are at the top, that are pioneering, you know, movements or trying to like get people not to side with them, but just be mindful. Just be mindful of your words. There's so much power in words and your platform. And Nicki, just seeing her politically. Oh, and then another thing too that came up that Don Lemon, I don't know if he mentioned this, but something that I saw that came up. Apparently, Nicki Minaj has something with her house where she owes like on her $20 million house is like a $503,000 lien or something that she's dealing with, like taxes or something like that. I'm not sure if I got that, you know, all the way correct, but I know that that's an issue as well. So if it's her husband could be pardoned by Trump and she can not ever get deported, it's like, yo, she's probably trying to do whatever she can to protect the fam. But once you put it on the internet, you know what I'm saying, it's already there. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do y'all think that it's okay? How do y'all feel about Nicki Minaj and what she said about Don Lemon? You know, her siding with Trump. I just want to know what y'all think. Like I said, like, it's a neutral space. Y'all can come here and y'all can let me know what y'all think. But if you really gang, bang that like button, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and make sure you good in every hood and you order your Tazzy's Baddies merch. You're tuned into the Tasmania Show with Taz Tycoon. Let's go.
Tycoon running up the score, Tazzy's Baddies on the floor. And that ass is super fatty, call me Zaddy, throw some more. Super nasty, she a savage, slaughter, fucker like a whore. Popping bottles, foreign models, Tycoon on the world tour. Shorty, what you bad for? Turn this to a hit-a-thon, damn. All your bitches bad, tell them they can come along.